How are you today, Angel?
I'm very tired.
Me too. I want to take a nap, but it's too late.
I might still
Well,
take a nap.
actually, I was going to say, it's not that late. Depends on how fast this goes.
I do want to point out a couple of things from last episode, because when Kay listened to it, she was like, which was your pronunciation of a couple of things.
Oh yeah, that's why I prefaced, like, I'm going to fuck this up. French is hard.
Yeah, right. And that's what we know that, but I didn't correct you because I didn't know any better. And so just a quick corrections corner. You said verte for the green lady.
Oh, the green lady, yeah.
In French, I think it's just ver or vert. There's no like.
Okay, good to know. So it's not like Hispanic pronunciation.
And then
because I pronounced it like as if it was Spanish.
Yeah, which that's why I didn't think anything, because in Spanish is verde, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
And then the word that you were like, oh, it's William. You were like Guillaume or something like that. It's just Guillaume.
Okay.
Or something like that. Anyway.
Something like that. So, but it was funny because I remember hovering over and being like, oh, William.
Yeah, exactly.
Never mind, I made it difficult for no reason.
Just a fun little corrections corner to start the podcast off with. But yes, I'm very tired. They are opening the ALF back up very slowly, like a little bit. Each resident was allowed to pick 2 people to come visit them, and one of those 2 people can come visit for 30 minutes at a time.
Okay.
So that means that not only do I have to schedule their appointments, there's a 17-minute training video that every person who wants to come see their loved one has to watch before they can see their loved one. And
which is basically like, don't touch them.
Yeah, basically.
Don't get close.
Wear
don't
your
touch
mask.
Things. Wear your
hand
mask.
sanitizer. Social distance. Yeah, exactly. And then, so I have to schedule their appointments. I have to schedule training videos. And then I have to schedule their loved ones to come see them for a half hour. And they can come see them up to 5 times a week.
That's good, though.
Which is nice, but it's just like
I'm sure they'll like it, but
Friday
it's gonna be
was kind of the first day where families were starting to kind of get that information, and I was so overwhelmed. So I am exhausted. Sure. And I'm drinking bubbly rosé.
Oh, I haven't started drinking alcohol yet, but I should. But I'm so tired that I'm drinking half of Eric's Monster because I'm on E.
Yeah.
And it's only going to get worse from here.
Yeah.
This night is the last relaxation night until we move. Mm-hmm. So tomorrow, after work, I'm going to go to the chiropractor because I didn't have time this week to do it. On Tuesday, I get the keys. So that means after work, we're going to get the keys and then bringing stuff in our cars, dropping stuff off, doing some general cleaning of the place, even though it's pretty clean. But obviously, if my butt's gonna be on like a toilet seat or something, I want to clean it off or something.
No, I absolutely understand that.
And then pretty much every night this week after that, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we're gonna be taking stuff in our cars, just small stuff. And then Saturday, we get a U-Haul and we move. So.
And then we'll be reunited.
I know. We're gonna have to be careful, but yeah.
I know. Yeah.
I don't think it'll be a problem. The house is big enough. We're not gonna be on top of each other.
It's gonna be so hard.
It will be hard not to. I know. It's gonna be interesting, but it'll be nice. And some of my other friends will be there too, so that's why we have to be super careful.
Yeah.
Luckily, we'll all have our own cars, so. Won't have to be in the cars together.
I have presents for you.
What?
Yeah.
You have presents for me?
Yeah.
I'm excited. Is it like house stuff?
No.
The way you said it. No.
Well, they were things that if you can think hard enough about it, you already kind of know about them. They are things that I told you about before you got a house. So maybe we'll bring a little housewarming gift.
I got a house. Dang, I don't remember.
That's good. There'll be surprises then.
It'll be even more surprise. That's fine with me. But it's going to be a busy week, so I'm like,
yeah, I get it.
I'm glad that we're getting all of the stuff done. Hopefully we have internet by Sunday, which I don't see why we wouldn't. It seems to be going fine.
Yeah.
And we'll go from there. What's your highs and lows for the past week?
Well, I kind of touched on it already, but my low is just that I am feeling very
Like stressed at
overwhelmed.
work?
Yeah. There's one of me and 94 residents, and they each can have 2 people. So I just feel overwhelmed and I'm like exhausted. It's Sunday. Today is Sunday, and I am still so tired. I don't think that's gonna go away anytime soon. So my high is
Okay.
that at work on Friday, not only did I get to leave a half hour early, which was really nice, I met the cutest little Pomsky. Her name is Quinn.
Oh, so cute.
She looks just like a tiny husky, though. She doesn't look like she's Pomsky. She just looks like a husky. And so she is going to be our episode sponsor this week because
Yay!
she's freaking adorable. She's 9 months old.
Oh, sweet baby.
She belongs to the granddaughter of a resident who just recently moved into the ALF.
Okay.
She is just so well behaved. She is so sweet. So everybody say thank you, Quinn, for sponsoring our episode this week.
Thank you, baby Quinn.
I sent you pictures of her.
I squish squish. Wait, when did you send me pictures?
I sent it on Friday, actually, to the chat with you and Kay in it.
Maybe I didn't get it. Sometimes at work, some of my Snapchats get eaten.
No, I sent it in the actual text.
Oh,
chat.
let me see.
I'll send them again.
No, I'm gonna look. The beauty of iPhone. Oh, you did! I remember this beautiful baby.
Isn't she adorable?
Eric, come look at. That's a Pomsky. So cute. No wonder.
Yeah.
What a beautiful baby.
She's freaking
Her eyes.
adorable. So those are my highs. Just it's really simple, but I got to leave at 4:30 on Friday, which was nice to just kind of leave work a little bit early. And I got to meet the sweetest little sponsor for our episode this week. What are you already kind of talked about, like
my low is that it's
Right,
gonna be busy.
right. What's your high?
That I'm moving.
Oh, okay. I guess
My high is that I'm moving and that I'll have space, and also it is Eric's and I's first real place together, even though we've been living together on and off for months.
Right.
This is our first place that we are both getting for our own. But that and like the low is it's going to be a busy week of moving, but the high is also I'm moving and I can't wait to be in not an apartment.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I've just been productive lately, getting all the stuff I need to get done and being more adult.
Oh, I have one more low that's kind of like just annoying.
Go ahead, yeah.
So, this is a continuation of the broken window story. So, just to recap, it broke. We had a guy come out. He took measurements, said he would get back to us. The holiday weekend passed. I texted him last week. I'm texting him right now, and he never got back to me, so I think I was ghosted by the window guy, so I've got to reach out to somebody
He
else.
still hasn't reached back out to you,
No,
dude?
he has not.
That's so frustrating. You're like, I just want to get my window fixed.
I live in rains every single afternoon, Florida. I need somebody to come fix my window.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, this is going to be a problem eventually.
Yeah.
Like a bigger problem than it already is.
So, yeah, I guess, is there anything else?
No, let's hop into some spooks.
Okay, so I have a story for you this week that I think you're really going to like.
Ooh, I'm excited.
So I'm going to talk about the Fort Garry Hotel in Winnipeg, Canada.
Okay, I've never heard of this.
Right. So we've mentioned this on the podcast before, but we're trying to do like
stories we both haven't heard.
Stories, because I feel like the big stories are so done all the time.
That's part of the reason I haven't covered like Eliza Lamb and stuff like
that.
Because it's already been covered so much.
And like, oh, you want to know something interesting? I had like a wow, this is wild, I'm a podcaster moment. So we have done on this podcast the mysterious death of Brittany Murphy. Kay and I were in the car the other day and we were listening to Morbid and their most recent episode.
Oh, I love Morbid.
Yeah, I love them too. As of this recording, their most recent episode was the mysterious death of Brittany Murphy. And I was sitting there going like, this is so weird that I know all these details. And it's fun to like listen to somebody else's take. And it's also like
to see what they cover, what they don't cover, what they find.
Like, wow, my podcast has already covered this, and now I'm listening to somebody else's podcast do that. And it was just like
instead of vice versa.
Yeah, exactly. And so it was just really weird to me to be like, I've already covered
on the other end of that.
Yeah,
it is interesting.
Cool. Yeah,
and I will say too, now not like a ton of people listen to us, but people have said stuff to me before that they listen to us, and I'm like, you do? You sure? Are you okay?
Yeah. No, they should listen to us.
They should, but I'm still, it's such a weird thought to be like, oh, someone actually likes listening from start to finish.
Yeah,
And I'm like, ew.
my big brother, so I don't have any biological older siblings, but he was a fraternity big brother, and truly we are like siblings. I love him as if he was my own brother. He texted me the other day and he was like, I started listening to your podcast. It's really cute. I like it. And
you're like, thank you.
I really appreciate it. So shout out to Justin. Love you, big bro.
Shout out to everyone that listens to us and deals with us.
But yeah, so that was a quick side note. But yes, so the story I'm telling you today is the story of the Fort Garry Hotel in Winnipeg, Canada. And like I said, I think you're really, really going to enjoy this story.
I can't wait. There's
not a lot of history, so we're going to jump straight into the spooks here in just a minute. But before we do that, I'm going to tell you my sources.
Okay.
Fort Harry Gotel. Got it.
Fort Harry Gotel. That's a Harry Gotel sounds like someone's nickname for their nutsack.
Yeah.
This is Harry Gotel, and I'd be like, put them away. Put them away. I don't want to know.
Oh no. Oh my god. So my sources are fortgarryhotel.com, thestar.com.
Oh, so like the actual hotel's website?
Yes, that's what I'm trying to get to.
Okay.
Thebohemianblog.com, theglobeandmail.com, hauntedrooms.com, abenackyextreme.com, which is whatever you want to name your blog, man. cbc.com, travelmanitoba.com, and there's a couple pictures that I emailed you earlier, and I said don't open them till I tell you to.
Do you want me to open them now?
No, not yet. I'll tell you.
God damn it.
Did you open it?
No.
Okay.
I just really want to open it. So when someone says don't open something, I'm like, oh no.
You're like, now I have to.
Now I have to.
And so the source for those two photos that I sent you, which I will also be posting on our blog at ghoulgaminggals.com, are from squarepegtours.ca. So let's get into just a tiny bit of history. The Fort Garry Hotel is located at 222 Broadway, Winnipeg, Manitoba, MBR3C0R3, Canada.
Is that the zip code?
I guess.
I'm pretty sure the zip codes in Canada have letters in them.
Yeah, so that is what it is. Construction on the building started in 1911 by the Grand Trunk Pacific Railway and opened to the public on December 11th, 1913, during a time which apparently Winnipeg was considered the Chicago of the North. I've never really been to Chicago other than like a layover
I think I've driven through it, yeah.
So I don't really know what that means, but every source that talked about the history of this building referred to being the Chicago of the North, so I thought I would add it.
That's so specific.
I know. At the time of its construction, the neo-chateau style of the building was the tallest structure in the city. So it actually kind of looks like a castle to me, but you can look it up. It's just the Fort Garry Hotel.
I'm gonna look it up. Oh, it's so pretty.
Yeah, it's really nice. I really want to stay here one day.
What's with us covering hotels that look like castles?
I don't know. This is the second Canada too.
Maybe
right?
It's a cry for help that the other one we did was Banff, which I'm like,
because you did Banff,
dude. I so want to stay in one of these. Can we do like a Canada trip?
Yeah, absolutely.
That'd be so fun.
Kay and I have decided that we're gonna move to Canada if Trump gets elected again. So fingers crossed that doesn't happen. But if it does, you can come visit us.
It's actually not even expensive. If you look, it's like $90.
Oh,
at least
I know.
Right now.
Yeah, it's not terribly bad at all. Yeah,
that's really cool. Okay. Anyway, sorry.
So you did take my next bullet point that it was currently not terribly expensive to stay at only about $90. So the hotel has seen many persons of renown as guests, such as Queen Elizabeth, King George VI, and Louis Armstrong. And there's like a whole list, but I just picked like a couple of the names everybody would recognize.
Notable ones.
Yeah. So it has passed through several hands of ownership, from the original Grand Trunk Pacific Railway, then the Canadian National Railway, after the Grand Trunk Pacific was kind of absorbed by a different railway company. In November of 1971, the hotel's 7th floor caught fire, and it required a team of 50 firefighters to put it out, and it left the hotel with some significant water damage. And I think I
Water
did.
damage. Oh, because of the putting
Yeah.
out. I was like, water damage. This was a
Well,
fire. I
yeah.
was confused, and then
Because they put it out. Yeah.
now I
And
understand.
I can't remember how I did these part of the notes I did while I was at work, and I can't remember, but it took like a significant amount of time to repair the hotel after that. So it was purchased privately in 1979 by the John Draper Perrin family, who operated it as an independent hotel until 1987, when it was bought by a Quebec hotelier, Raymond Malafont, who rebranded the hotel and opened it back up in 1988. And then in 2009, the building was bought by husband and wife duo Richard Dell and Ida Albo, and they operate it as a private hotel, convention center, and events venue today. So that's all I have on history.
Okay,
So,
I'm ready.
like I said, not much. There is a couple more.
It's just like a brief background.
Yeah.
Background of like, hey, this is how the hotel came to be,
There,
etc.
there are a couple more history-esque things, but in order for
Those are the big ones.
These ghost story things to make sense, I put them in the ghost sightings.
Okay, that makes sense.
Now here is just me regurgitating some ghost stories that I found.
Oh,
update on the window guy. He did text me back. He said, sorry, I've dropped the ball on that. I will take care of that tomorrow and find out what it's going to cost for the glass. I got busy with a couple jobs last week and find out what it would cost to replace the window.
Yeah, I would say you dropped the ball, my guy.
I will text him back when we're done recording. Anyway,
okay, go ahead.
So back to the ghost stories. Back around Christmas of 2018, an anonymous person who claims to work at the hotel had this to say, quote, I was working a 5 a.m. shift when I walked up to the staff washroom and I instantly felt chills. When I turned around the corner, there was a skirt lying on the floor, and suddenly a small access panel about 1.5 feet from the floor opened up. All day from then on, I felt a weight on my back as if I was giving someone a piggyback ride.
Ew.
I felt this weight all day until my shift was over. I went back to the washroom and I said, you can get off now. And at that second, she left me and I felt much lighter.
Why would you talk to it? Why would you talk to it? Why would you talk to it? I don't like that.
I've never given much thought to ghosts and things, but I couldn't shake how real this felt. So
just rip the whole back off.
Yeah.
One.
So
I would quit.
I don't know. It would depend on the feeling that I got from it, because like if it wasn't a negative energy, I'd be like, well, this is weird, but I can handle it. But if it was like I felt bad or I felt negative or I felt anxious,
well, usually for me, anytime I felt like a heavy feeling that dealt with paranormal, it wasn't usually good. That's just me though.
Right.
Everyone has
what we should do
experiences.
when the world is safe to be in again?
Share our stories?
Well, not only that, but we should go eat at Ashley's restaurant in Rockledge. I think we've said that on the podcast before.
Yes. Yeah, you did tell me about that.
And I've had my own personal experiences there, and I can talk about those. Maybe we can
eat there and then have like a talk about it.
Yeah, and we can record like an extra episode, or we can
for our Patreon, wink wonk.
Yeah, or something like that. But they've got really good food, and yeah, I love that place, and it's got such an interesting history. And
yeah, like, I would absolutely love to do
every time
like
I have been there, I have had an experience. So
okay, I would be up for that. That sounds fun.
Yeah,
we could talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. It could be like a double date. Cool. Me and Kay, you and Eric. Heck yes. Anyway, so moving on. Another person who only provided their first name of Chris had this to say about their stay at the hotel. Quote, there were times when I was alone when I heard a repeated knock on the door of my room, and when I would open it up, no one was there. When I was in the shower, I heard the knocking on the door again, and it sounded like someone was in my room, but when I came out of the bathroom, I saw no one there, and nothing had changed. I slept terrible both nights that I had stayed because it just seemed so loud and noisy to me. I knew it was a very busy weekend, so I just put it all to the fact of a busy weekend. When we checked out, the friendly staff person at the desk asked how our stay had been, and I said that the weekend sure must have been good for the hotel since it was so busy. She smiled and said, "What do you mean by that?" I said I'm not complaining, but it's been quite noisy outside our room, even at night, and I didn't sleep much. I left then to help get our things to the car, and later, when we were some distance down the road, my parents, who had been with me at our stay, said that after I left the desk, the staff person said that they were sorry about the noise, but the floor we were staying on was being renovated, and we were the only people staying on that floor, as our room was the only room available to stay in.
No, thank you.
It was then that my parents said to me, "Maybe a ghost was bothering you. Didn't you know it said to be haunted?"
Bro, they just say that?
Yeah, I guess so.
I don't like that.
I'd have been like, dude, you gotta lead with that information.
Yeah, you gotta be like, so while you're like have the paperwork and they're making you sign it, they're like, just so you know, if you look at the bottom, we're haunted, and then have them like sign it at that point. But like, you come on, dude, you gotta say something.
Mm-hmm. So the basement, which is usually blocked off to guests, apparently seen some ghost activity too, even though like guests haven't seen it. Staff of the hotel and paranormal investigators go down there, and apparently, supposedly, back in the 1930s, this is because a chef of the hotel murdered another employee down in the basement. The only thing is I searched far, wide, up, down, left, right, north, south, east, west. I could not find anybody's accounts of what happened in the basement.
Okay. They're like, the basement's haunted. Good luck trying to figure out what kind.
There were several sources that said the basement was haunted, but I could not actually find any stories of like what happened down there to make people think so. So
that's so weird.
The basement's supposedly haunted. I don't know how. Moving on.
I mean, you did what you could.
So one report from somebody who stayed in room 502 claims that they woke up in the middle of the night to their sister supposedly calling them. But when they answered the phone, there was only static on the other end.
I don't like static.
No. Mm-mm. And then it gets even better because in the morning, the sister's call was not in their recent call logs.
No. I don't like.
Yep.
That's gross. That's gross.
It's terrifying. The idea that somebody was calling you from your sister's name in your phone.
I feel like that's happened with Jalen. Like, he's called me and I called him back. He's like, no, I didn't.
Oh,
like,
no. What? Oh, that gave me goosebumps for real, though. Oh, no, I don't like
it. It's happened with Joey,
that's
too.
Like that text that I keep getting.
Where it's just unknown?
Yeah, it just says unknown. It's like a blank text. That I can't block it because there's no number. It doesn't even give me the option to block.
You're like, who is texting me? I don't understand.
It literally, I'm getting chills just thinking about it. I will literally just get like a blank text from literally it says unknown. It's not even just a random number. It literally just says unknown. And it doesn't give me the option to block it so it doesn't happen again. So every once in a great while, I just get this blank text from unknown and it just creeps the shit out of me.
You're like, who is unknown? I don't understand.
I feel like I'm gonna like make it text me again just talking about it. So let's just move on.
Yuck.
Staff members and visitors alike have reported that they have seen a woman dressed in a nightgown or a robe wandering the halls of the hotel. There's an apparition in room 202, which we're about to get to in a minute. They say that same apparition is also said to be sitting alone in a corner of the hotel lounge and crying after she asks for water. So that's kind of sad.
That is really sad.
So this is where you can open that email that I sent you.
Oh, hell yeah. Okay. I opened it.
So hotel staff have reported that a phantom diner, like somebody who is dining, sits at the table next to a window in the Broadway room, which is like this big kind of dining room.
I'm looking at it. I don't like.
So the first one is you can see kind of, it's a little bit vague, but you can kind of see like the vague image of faces and that they have circled. The one on the right to me is a little bit more pronounced than I don't really.
Yeah, I can see it a little bit better.
And then the second picture is like this really pronounced orb kind of in the lower middle. And they say that is the apparition
diner
that dines in the Broadway room.
Interesting.
So there's a gentleman who has claimed to be a security guard at the hotel who says that during an overnight shift of his, he found 10 lit candles on the floor of a ballroom that was not being used and was locked in the shape of a star.
Whomst?
Nope.
How did they do that?
I don't know. Yeah, that's cross arm emoji from me, man.
I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
Yeah. So I guess it's interesting to point out that for the most part, if you talk to the hotel staff about any of these alleged rumors, they either say, oh, that's all just speculation, or that was before my time. I can't really speak to that. But they do talk about one thing with certainty because it's posted in like brochures and literature from the hotel. And that is the story of how the current owners, they used to live on site in room 528. So Ida Albo reports that she once woke to her husband, Richard Bell, entering the room after they'd had a disagreement. She even felt him sit on the bed, but when she rolled over to speak with him, he was not there. Mm-hmm.
No, thank you.
So that was...
So she just rolled over and no one was there?
Correct.
But she felt someone there?
Yeah. So she felt him. She felt her husband sit down on the bed. I don't know how she knew it was her husband. I don't know if he like announced himself, which is almost
probably
creepier
just
to me.
because she knew that someone else was coming to bed eventually. So
Yeah.
you just assume.
Yeah. So that is like the one thing that is published in literature is that Ida Albo had like an experience in room 528.
She had experiences too.
Yeah. So I gather from information about the hotel that the owners don't live in the hotel anymore, but they did at one time. Yeah, really. So, arguably, the most infamously haunted room in the hotel is room 202. So,
I wonder why.
According to legend and speculation, there was a newlywed couple who were staying in room 202 during their honeymoon. The wife had asked him, hey, can you go get me some painkillers because she had a headache? So the husband left to just walk across to the pharmacy to grab some painkillers, and he was hit either by a carriage, like a horse-drawn carriage, or a car. The sources...
What?
Yeah,
okay.
the sources are not clear. Like,
yes, those are very different things, but all right.
Either way, he died.
Okay.
Yeah, so she was so distraught over the loss of her new husband that she killed herself in the room by hanging herself in the closet.
That's so sad.
So there's another potential origin story, and in my research I got a little confused because it sounded like, I don't know if this was like one of two potential ones or if both of these things happened to happen in the same room, but the hotel has a record of a woman by the name of Lady McMillan who stayed in the room on December 10th in 1913 for the hotel's grand opening, and that the apparition could be that lady as well. But it doesn't say if she died in the room or if something happened to her, just that she stayed there, and some people think it could be this apparition of the woman whose husband died tragically or the woman of Lady McMillan. I was a little bit confused about that when I was reading.
Yeah, that is interesting and weird.
Either way, nowadays, people see a woman in a white-laced brocade gown sitting in the room alone, which, like, when I picture that, I just kind of picture my own wedding dress, which is a little freaky to me.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Yeah. So, you know, like, what brocade is, right?
No.
Let me just...
No, let me look it up. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so, and that my wedding dress was absolutely like a white lace brocade gown.
Yeah, it totally
So, when I read that, I was like, my wedding dress? What? Oh. It gave me, like, the heebie-jeebies.
You were like, I must peel that dress off of me and never think of it ever again.
No, I still never got it preserved, or I gotta do that.
You should put it back on before you do it. I totally did that.
I know you did.
It's interesting putting it back on, I will say.
Yeah. I'm afraid to. I'm afraid that it might not fit anymore.
Now, what's funny is my dress was a little big on me then. I think I would actually fill it out now.
I'm not in the interest of... Well, maybe I will try to put it back on one
time. I would say, why not?
Just out of curiosity. Anyway, moving on. The hotel reports that there's a woman who frequently stays in the hotel and requests only to stay in room 202 because she's often visited by a ghostly woman in a white ballroom gown when she does stay there. So she only wants to stay in that room because she wants to see a ghost. Which, more power to you.
Okay, but I wouldn't want to do that all the time.
A story in the Winnipeg Free Press reports the sight of blood running down the walls, and another story in Globe and Mail reported that a Canadian member of Parliament, or Canadian MP, Brenda Chamberlain, stayed in room 202 back in 2000. Brenda is usually pretty skeptic, but she reported an invisible presence getting into the bed beside her. She said, quote, "It was like somebody was settling into position next to me, like my husband, only lighter, but I actually felt the bed move." So that's gonna be a note from me, dog.
That's also a note from me, dog.
Some people report drawers, cabinets, and closet doors opening and closing of their own accord. Bed sheets are rustling in the bed next to them, like someone is trying to get into bed with them, which checks out for a couple other stories. Cell phones turn off, even with a full charge, and won't turn back on until they leave the room. People will take pictures all over the hotel.
But what if I want to use my phone in bed? God damn it.
Well, sucks to suck, my friend.
That's so sad.
People will take pictures all over the hotel, but spirits and orbs and other apparitions will only appear in and around room 202.
Okay, then.
Other people report flickering lights, an apparition of a woman standing looming over them at the foot of the bed.
Oh, my favorite. I love a woman just
Staring at me while I
yeah,
sleep.
that really makes me comfy and
Yep,
calm.
honestly. And according to paranormal researcher Michelle McKay, the spirit in 202 is one of the few that she labels a quote solid apparition, as she tends to appear as solidly as any human, but will disappear only moments later, and that is how we know she is not among the living.
Yeah.
And that, my friend, is the story of the Fort Garry Hotel.
Thank you for sharing. That's really cool.
Did you enjoy it as much as I hoped you would?
Yeah, I think it's really interesting how the ghosts have like a weird pattern to them.
Mm-hmm.
I just wonder what that's about.
Yeah, I don't know, but it was a fun story to
Did anyone
research.
die in the fire?
I don't know, to be honest. The fire, I didn't see it anywhere, but like on the Fort Garry Hotel website, they have like a little timeline of historical events, and that was the only place that saw the fire. So I don't know if anybody passed away or not, because I only found that on the official Fort Garry Hotel website.
Okay, well that's interesting.
Yeah.
Oh,
It wouldn't
thank you for
surprise
sharing.
me. I mean, the building is old enough that so many people with so many different energies and stories have walked through it that even without a ton of death, there's still a lot of energy there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting though.
I think you've got some gaming news to spit at me.
I do indeed.
Why did I say it like that?
Spit.
Ew.
Imagine if I just did that.
Ew.
So I have a couple different things for you today. I am sorting things from IGN, comicbook.com, PC Gamer, theblog.playstation.com, and psu.com. So I'm starting with an article on IGN. Xbox Series S will not run Xbox One X enhanced versions of backwards compatible games. Which, why?
Well, I think it's the same idea as like the PlayStation Pro. Like it's not as powerful, so it won't be able to run certain things as.
Which makes sense. It just sucks.
I'm not super surprised by that, to be honest.
Well, I wasn't planning on buying an Xbox anyway, so.
Well, me neither, but
Yeah, it's not that.
We are both PlayStation gamers.
Absolutely. And PC now for me.
Yeah,
but
well, yeah, me too, to some extent.
in this article, they were quoted saying Xbox Series S was designed to be the most affordable next generation console and play next generation games at 1440p at 60 FPS. A Microsoft spokesperson said to deliver the highest quality backwards compatible experience consistent with the developer's original intent. The Xbox Series S runs the Xbox One S version of backward compatible games while applying improved texture filtering, higher and more consistent frame rates, and faster load times than auto HDR. So still
Okay.
good.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal. I don't think anyone was expecting it, to be honest.
Yeah, no.
It literally says in this article now, it says, this all shouldn't be too surprising.
No, and I don't think it is, because it's intended to be like an economical choice, and it's not intended to be as powerful as the Series X. So yeah, I'm not really surprised by that at all.
But I figured I'd bring it up.
Yeah.
The next thing was Call of Duty Black Ops. Cold War developer is responding to big gameplay concerns. So the latest and greatest iteration of Call of Duty franchise recently revealed a bunch of details about multiplayer. They showed footage of new maps. They showed first impressions. One major thing that they kept showing was the strength of tanks in multiplayer, and for some reason people were like, okay, what's that? What's going on? Because a lot of people were saying that they just seemed too strong.
Oh.
So essentially their response was like, hey, like we're still working on this, like it hasn't come out yet, so chill out, number one. Basically in like the easiest terms possible. But Josh Torres, who is the community manager for Treyarch, on Reddit, he responded to the concerns about the strength of the tanks in the upcoming multiplayer, saying that they had already been nerfed, and he said tanks go down very quickly when focused. You can also spec your weapons out to be an anti-tank. Everyone should have good anti-streak class. You can even make them in-game, no more excuses. I'm like, damn, man.
Damn.
So, in this article, it says that his response is basically just a reminder that these are early impressions and that the video game isn't even launching until November. So, what you're seeing is just a very brief idea of what the game is like and don't be
Yeah.
surprised that
They're
things
just trying to
change.
give you like a
A
taste.
general idea. They're
You
not
know,
like,
I wouldn't be surprised if they were trying to get like a little bit of community feedback. If the tanks were really strong and people are like, "Oh, okay, I can get behind that," maybe they wouldn't have nerfed the tanks. But if the community
exactly.
responded the way they did, like, "Wow, the tanks are too strong. What the heck is going on?" Then of course the development team would have been
It would
like,
have been
"Oh,
different.
okay, yeah." So I think that a little bit of it was, yeah, just to kind of show off like what's being developed, but
Hey, this
also,
is what's going on.
yeah, to get
This
some
is what you can
developer
look forward
feedback.
to in November.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, because they do need feedback from people
Mhm.
being like, hey, that looks weird.
Yeah.
Same thing with Valhalla.
And it's the same thing with, it's just like any art or any project that you work on, like when you look at it too long, you start to just kind of not
You
see.
don't remember what looks
Yeah.
good anymore.
Yeah, yeah, which is why I have such a hard time with like visual art, because like when I look at what I paint or what I draw too long, I start seeing all of the flaws or all of the things that I don't like, or I stop
Instead of
seeing
focusing
things
on the
that
main
are,
thing.
yeah, or you stop seeing things that are,
Actually wrong.
yeah, because maybe
It's
the
interesting.
community would have pointed something else out that they would have been like, "Oh, I didn't even notice that because I've been looking at this for way too long." And that's just the thing about art.
That
So,
happens too with work too. Like
yeah.
you'll look at something for so long, you're like, oh, I guess that is a mistake. Whoops.
Yeah.
The next thing I have for you is PC games that we're looking forward to in 2021. So we have Dying Light 2.
Okay.
I will read the little blurbs that they have
Sure.
here. Dying Light 2 takes the foundation of the first game and mulches it into something a lot more exciting. Gone is the contemporary setting, replaced by a semi fantastical future where medieval esque human factions vie for control of the city and its dwindling resources. There's still zombies and parkour, but with a much bigger emphasis on story.
There's still zombies and
You know,
parkour.
that.
Wow, talk about a selling point, you know?
Honestly, where the choices you make can have an impact on the world around you. There's an obvious inspiration from CRPGs, where siding with one faction, for example, might wipe out an entire section of the city, or permanently close off a chain of requests. It's an exciting concept, especially when mixed with Dying Light's already thrilling first person combat and acrobatics. I feel like if I were to play this game, because I watched parts of it, I would throw up.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, what's that game? Mirror? Do you know what I'm talking about? She basically was
Mhm.
doing it was a girl that does parkour, and the game is fun, but it totally made me nauseous after a certain amount of time.
Girl parkour video game.
I'm pretty sure it's Mirror. No, that's not correct.
I like how the top ask was, "Can a girl do
I
parkour?"
can see it.
Oh,
It's
was
Mirror's
it
Edge.
Mirror's Edge?
Yes.
Okay.
But that game made me sick after a little bit.
No.
So the next one, this is hilarious, by the way. Empire of Sin. In Empire of Sin, my gang spent too much time in a brothel, haha, and caught some STDs, haha. It's a mobster management game where you squabble with other gangs, duke it out in turn-based battles, take over businesses, and try to stop your minions from becoming STD riddled drunks. It's
Holy
a
shit.
bit like running a video game website, I guess. You need to be a people person as well as a savvy business owner, navigating your gang's personal relationships, personalities, and vices to keep your criminal organization on top. So,
That sounds too stressful for me, but yes, go
the
on.
next one, Evil Genius 2. I'm not going to start reading all of these because they're very long, but
Mhm.
figured I'd highlight some of the funniest ones.
Sure.
Evil Genius 2, which is basically kind of like it's called Evil Genius 2 because you're basically in a lair and you're doing evil stuff, basically.
Genius things.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds
Everspace 2, which
seems
is a
legit.
space game. It's a sci-fi RPG narrative game with some story elements,
Well, that
and
sounds right
it's,
up my alley, doesn't it?
yeah, it's really cool. And then Hitman 3, I don't want to explain Hitman 3 because Hitman in general is pretty
I was
known.
gonna say you probably don't need to explain Hitman 3.
Yeah, it doesn't need a lot. Kerbal Space Program 2, which I've never heard of before, is
Oh.
a online multiplayer. It's an interesting thing. It's like a physics space fight type of thing.
Okay.
Sable, which is a desert world. It's flat imagery, and I'm gonna post the link for all of these because it's very interesting. Because a lot of these games I haven't heard of.
Oh.
There's no combat. It's a puzzle game that's optional puzzles, which is interesting. And then there's Stalker 2. I've never played Stalker 1. Have you ever heard of Stalker 2?
I've heard of it, but I don't know anything about it.
I think it's made on Unreal Engine, the second one,
Oh.
and it's kind of like a creepy, surreal kind of game.
Mm-hmm.
There is a video teaser for it as well that's linked in this article. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 is also coming out next year. It's an RPG game. apparently there was a loss of 2 of the key creative members of this game, so it might further impact, how long until it comes out.
Oh.
So it's been pushed back, but it should come back to 2021. Apparently it was supposed to come out this year, but because of that, it got pushed back. But
Well,
it's
yeah, but
essentially
I don't feel like anybody's gonna fault
no,
the developer.
they can't do anything.
Yeah.
But it's basically like a bunch of dark back alleys, nightclubs of like a wolf vampire universe, which is very interesting.
Okay.
Icarus, which is a survival game. So it has been teased. It premiered at the PC gaming show. It was a little bit standard looking is what it said, and it's kind of just basic. By the time it comes out, they're hoping it's revamped and looks better. The quote from this, it says, it's based kind of looking like a nature game where you descend from your space station with a limited time to complete your objectives and haul precious materials back up to orbit. The tension in survival games tends to fade a bit after the first few hours, but the ticking clock in Icarus might keep it up. So I guess it's kind of more like time sensitive and pressure based.
Which sounds very stressful to me.
Yeah, I don't like games like that because then I'm just like, I just want to chill.
Yeah.
I just want to have fun.
I don't play video games to be more stressed.
Yeah, I play games to chill out.
I play video games to be de-stressed.
And then there's Warhammer 40,000 Darktide, which is a co-op brawler. Fat Shark's outstanding co-op brawler Vermintide has been a regular staple of PC gaming sessions. The prospect of a new game from that studio set is that Warhammer's 40,000 universe is just delicious, is what it says.
Wow.
I'm like, why would you describe it like that? With Vermintide, the developers at Fat Shark demonstrated how well they understood the fiction, and that made a rare, fantastic first-person melee game as well.
Interesting.
The shooting in Vermintide feels great, but good shooting systems are vital for a 40k game to work. So the plasma pistols need to hum and sizzle, bolt pistols need to crack, laser guns, etc., etc. But
right,
I guess it's like a different thing. I've played Vermintide, I have not played Warhammer.
I have played neither of those.
Vermintide's basically like Left 4 Dead, but set differently. Same mechanics.
I've played Left 4 Dead, so
it's basically like medieval rat Left 4 Dead. I don't know how to I literally don't know how to describe it other than
medieval rat Left 4 Dead.
Because it's a rat, and it's rat people that have infested the world.
So this episode's title is going to be Fort Harry Gotel and Medieval Rat Left 4 Dead.
It's what it is. I don't know how to describe it better than that. The next thing I have is PlayStation 5's showcase is on Wednesday, September 16th. This was on PlayStation, and PlayStation announced this. It should be about 40 minutes, it said, and features updates on the latest titles from worldwide studios and their world-class development partners. It will be on Twitch or YouTube, whichever one works best for you, on Wednesday, September 16th at 1 p.m. Pacific. So by the time you hear this, this will already have happened. So I will insert me talking about what was announced in the showcase.
Yeah.
Hello, past tense gals and ghouls. This was filmed Wednesday of September 16th after the PS5 conference. So here are the highlights of the PS5 conference that is super, super exciting. So PlayStation announced that PlayStation 5 will be coming out to the US, Japan, Canada, Mexico, Australia, New Zealand, and South Korea on November 12th, and everybody else on November 19th. So there's 2 different options that you can get during launch. So there is the PlayStation 5 Digital Edition, which will be $399.99 for most places, and then for the other version, which is just basically it has a disk drive, it will come out at $499.99. So 2 very good options depending on what you have. I assume if you have a PS4, this is just so you don't have to spend an extra $100 just for a disk drive when most of us already have one. Some other games that are coming to PS5, which are Devil May Cry 5, Final Fantasy 15, Five Nights at Freddy's, Security Breach, Hogwarts Legacy, and a new God of War title, alongside things that they've already announced like Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales, Call of Duty, Black Ops Cold War, and Demon's Souls. Things that will actually be coming out with PlayStation 5 on launch day. Pre-installed on the PS5 will be Astro's Playroom, Demon's Souls, Destruction All-Stars, Marvel Spider-Man, the normal version, and then they'll have an ultimate version, and then Sackboy a big adventure. They also announced all of the specifications and hardware that this will come with, but I will not bore you with that. So that's the update. Thanks for listening, everybody. Back to past Angel and Janelle. Goodbye. The last thing I have for you, which I told you about, but I don't know if you had actually seen it. EB Games accidentally put out their promotional posters for PS5 before they had permission to, which means they had the release dates on it, which is hilarious. Hilarious. So it was a tweet that was going around. It was in Australia, so an EB Games in Australia put up the banner a little too early. So it's been rumored to drop on September 9th, which would have tied for the 25th anniversary. That's what it said.
Okay.
The pre-order for September 9th, sorry.
Okay.
So it was rumored to have been that the pre-orders would have been on September 9th because then it would have been the 25th anniversary of PlayStation, which is why they thought it was going to happen, but unfortunately that didn't happen. So people were like, okay, if pre-order wasn't for the 9th, then when the fuck is it, you know?
Especially because that was the day that Xbox came out with their release date and price point for their console.
Exactly. So they were like, okay, what am I supposed to do? So it says holiday of 2020. So we'll see when that's supposed to be, but it's supposed to be by the end of this year. There was one where it had the actual date, but I think they removed it, so I couldn't find it. And that and also might have just been Photoshopped, to be honest.
Also a fair point.
But in general, the banners say holiday of this year, so it should be out by, I would say, probably November. Like, you know, Black Friday.
Yeah. That which would make the most sense to me, like for things to be available.
That's when people normally buy stuff.
Yeah, I don't go Black Friday shopping, but that's because I don't like to be up early.
We'll see what happens, but that's all I got for you.
Oh, okay. Well, that was fun. Thank you for sharing.
And take a look at our Patreon. All of our bloopers are up. Once we have more followers, then we'll actually do
more content.
Yeah, I'll do more content, so more mini episodes and stuff like that. And check out Angel's hard work on our website at ghoulgaminggals.com.
Thanks. And starting in the month of October, we're going to be doing like a play along, I guess, if you want. We're going to be doing like a video game of the month where, because Switch and PS Plus like always has such great deals,
and also
like,
Steam has been having
Steam
good deals on like
such
really
great deals and great like free games or monthly games. Like, we just thought it would be nice to both of us and you guys as well, like our listeners, will play a game with us and then we'll discuss it at the beginning of the next month, as well as announce the next game that we're gonna play. And yeah, just kind of have like a game of the month, and it'll get us to play something new, and it'll get us to play something maybe that we wouldn't have played otherwise. And I think it'll just be
even
like
if it's shit.
Yeah.
I think it'll be interesting to try some new stuff, and a lot of like small Steam games, like they don't have to be long, but small Steam games that are like $5 or less, or $10 or less, where it's just like, hey, I played this after work, and then we can talk about it either on Patreon, on the podcast, or both, and just get feedback, and also so people can try new stuff too.
Yeah, so hopefully you guys will join us in that, and you can interact with us on social media at ghoulgaminggals.
On Instagram at ghoulgaminggals.podcast.
Yeah, and then you can find us on
But everything else, literally, you can just look up Ghoulgaminggals. Yeah. It pops up.
You can listen to us basically wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to watch Janelle's stream, which is usually where we stream from, it's Janel Nelly.
And Angels is Ariam Akila. Join us next time, and by the time this comes out, I'll be packing a U-Haul. No, I'm kidding. I won't be packing a U-Haul.
No, you'll
yet,
be moved.
I'll be almost... Not yet. By the time this comes out? No.
Oh, by the time this comes out. That's true. Sorry. I thought...
By the time... Okay, how about better phrasing? The next time we record, I will be recording in our house.
That's where my brain was. I was like,
that's better.
We'll be moved the next time that we record.
Yeah.
When this comes out. Anyway.
By the time this comes out, I will be almost not in this apartment.
Yay. Anyway.
Hopefully your window will be fixed.
Yeah, hopefully. He did text me back, so
Thank
we'll
God.
update you all about that. Anyway, so you can email us at ghoulgaminggals@gmail.com, and you can visit our website at ghoulgaminggals.com and visit Janelle's Patreon, which she has done a good job on. Don't let her beat herself up. At patreon.com/ghoulgaminggals. And I think that's everything.
Next weekend.
We'll catch you in the next episode.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.